Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, now we're ready. How's it going, everybody? Chaos and Comics, Chris, how are you, man? So let's just go right into it. This is going to be a huge video. I was contacted recently by one of the local comic dealers, sellers. He does some variant covers. He's actually started getting artists so he could do kind of custom variants and things. Really nice guy. He came into a collection recently, and with it was a short box plus a bit of underground, mostly underground, some kind of indie comics. I'd say kind of, 80% underground comics. And he got in touch with me asking if I'd like to come and see them. And I said, absolutely. And before I even saw them, I said, how much do you want for the entire box? He said, you should come and see them first. So I went down and had a look a few days ago and, kind of flipped through and saw some really great things. A bunch of doubles, or so I thought. And then I went tonight after picking my daughter up from her daycare and bought the whole goddamn box. I've gone through a bunch of it, or I've gone through it tonight just to get it out of the shitty old bags and also make it easier so we can look through some of them. It's actually kind of fucking mind-blowing. There's some early printings of stuff that I'm kind of amazed. There was a few that I looked at that I was kind of like, this can't be real. I'm genuinely shocked. It's pretty rare that I find undergrounds these days that I don't already have. I've got a drawer almost filled with undergrounds. I've got hundreds, and then I've got those magazine kind of baskets filled with undergrounds. Like, I've got a lot of underground comics, so it's pretty damn rare that I find stuff that I don't already have. And then I've got multiple copies of some things, multiple printings rather. That said, this box has got quite a bit of shit that I don't have. So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. This first stack I'm going to go through pretty quickly. This is the stuff that's kind of more kind of indie, I guess, from 80s and 90s. Piranha Press, a name that I know. I don't know much about them. What years do we have on this? This is 1991. So this is story by Dave Lopre, I guess, and artwork by Dan Sweetman. Hello, Werewolf by Lunchtime. How the heck are you, man? It's been a while. So I don't know much about this. It doesn't really catch my attention as much. So this will probably be going on the for sale pile of books. And then by the same creative group, or the same creative duo rather, also from Piranha, is a book called Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children. And this is 11 issues here. I don't know how many it ran, and it's a similar kind of format, illustrations and text. The illustrations are amazing. They're really, really great. This reminds me of Butthole Surfer's cover a little bit. Here you go, Gore Vidal. Hello. Elisa, hello. So this looks pretty great. I don't know. This is a new one to me. This is 1989. So I might dig into this a little bit and see what it's all about. It doesn't scream out at me, to be honest, but maybe I'm completely out to lunch on this, and this will be a fascinating read. Who knows? 30 issues. Hello, Rick Ray. Thank you very much. So that's that. Oh, Comic Board, how are you, man? I think this is Caliber Press, this one, the Book of the Apocrypha. Compiled by Eric Jackson. Artwork provided by Jeannie Mix Photography. The Illustrated Door, the Book of the Apocrypha, Volume 1, Number 1. not Caliber, 1990. Oh no, Caliber Press, yeah, Tome Press, I guess. Paul Gustave Doré, 1832 to 1883. So some text and some art. Wish you could find. Yeah, I mean, I hear that quite a bit there, Werewolf. We're just a comic-centric place here in Winnipeg. Those are fantastic. The Cotton Candy Autopsy is Flannery O'Connor's. A Good Man is Hard to Find with a Clown Twist. Okay, cool. I'll have to give it a shot then. Like I said, I'm gonna kind of whip through this first chunk because while this stuff is interesting at all, it's not the meat of it. 3 issues of Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Is this Mark Schultz? Is that correct? Yeah, Schultz, 1990-ish. Okay, well, I mean, Gore, if you're raving about it, I'll absolutely give it a closer look. So 3 issues of this, 1, 4, and 5. One from my childhood that I got rid of a long time ago. My grandma used to take me to buy comics, and there was a period of time there that no matter what I bought, she would always make me buy some of this cartoon history of the universe. So I did eventually have the entire series. I've long since got rid of it. I don't have I see this and it triggers me, as the kids say. But I mean, it's good to see this again. I haven't seen this in a goddamn long time, so that's very cool to see that. Sort of along the sidelines of Underground's ripoff press there. One that I'm very interested in, the 3-issue miniseries of Dead Face by Eddie Campbell. And these are thick suckers, these ones. I'm very, very excited about. Pardon me, I'm very, very excited about this one. This is Dark Horse. The 3 issues there. And then there was just a single issue from, I guess, another volume. This is issue number 3 of 4 with, what was that? The Eyeball Kid? Is that what he was called on the cover here? The Death of Mr. Monster. I've got a bunch of Mr. Monster stuff. This one looks pretty interesting. One of the things that caught my eye about this one is we get a Michael T. Gilbert early work here, and this stuff is fucking incredible. A secret peek into the creation of Mr. Monster. So this is really great stuff. This screams 80s black and white boom. So I'm very excited about this. The Mr. Monster stuff, for the most part, I enjoy it. The stuff that I have is mostly reprinting, reprints of older comics, but there are kind of Mr. Monster stories mixed in. Maybe it's about time I sat and gave them a proper look through now that I've got stuff like this too. This is always exciting. I've got all of this, so this will be in the pile that will be for sale. This is Fantagore Press. Looks like the first 9 issues. Oh no, 10 issues here. The 10-issue run. I believe it was 10-issue run of Richard Corbin's Den. This is his own publishing company. These are later stories where it was in color. He wasn't, Den wasn't naked through the whole thing. He was sort of trying to appeal to a wider audience. So there wasn't sausage flopping all over the place. So that's kind of cool. That's a good stack. Isn't this some Danzig bullshit here? Yeah, Glenn Danzig, Satanica, 0 interest. Yes, I did comic board. I got a, hey, look at that, Von Baudet. I got a short box from a local seller. He came into a collection. Somebody passed away and he bought a collection. And with that collection was a short box of mostly underground, but some independent comics. 2 issues of Son of Mutant World, from Fantagore, written by Jan Sternad and Richard Corbin, doing art, obviously. Another one that I've got this whole run. I've got most of this Fantagore press stuff, so this will be good, again, to sell or trade or whatever we end up doing with it here. Xenozoic Tales to kind of polish off this before we get into the really, really good stuff. Yeah, I mean, again, Mark Schultz, Xenozoic Tales, number 11. Beautiful artist, really amazing stuff. I had a collection of Xenozoic Tales a long time ago, and it didn't make one of the purges. And that's the other thing I'll say is I did quite a bit of purging to be able to kind of jump on this box of stuff. I sold a bunch of movies and sold some comics. Yeah. I don't mean necessarily bad. I mean, it's just the stuff that I'm most excited about is coming up right now. As I've said before, it's pretty fucking rare that I find any single issues of Black Hole. So unfortunately, this was the only one that was in the collection. But I mean, good goddamn. Like opening up a book and being greeted with this. I've got the hardcover collection of this. I want all of the single issues of this. I know it's going to take me forever to get my hands on it, but I'm patient. There you go. And then something I have been looking for forever and a day, and I never, ever, never see this out there. Curse of the Mole Man, the Mole Men rather, featuring Big Baby. Some more Burns stuff here, and this is the first time I saw this was in Comic Book Confidential, the documentary about comics. Charles Burns has a section in there where he's reading a passage from this. It's this first part here, but it's all in black and white. This is colored. This whole thing is color. But yeah, it's actually these first few pages that he reads in the documentary. So ever since I saw that as a young crack, I've been looking for copies of this. And again, it's just something you don't find. So very, very exciting to find this. This is beautiful stuff. The guy is an absolute beast of an artist. So very, very cool. All right, so that's the shit. Let's pull out a stack. This is a box of comics here, people. So starting it off with something I already have a couple of copies of. When it comes to the stuff that's in this box, I'm going to be looking to see which printings I have. And if there are doubles, obviously holding on to the one that's in better condition and then adding the other ones to a pile. This is All Canadian Beaver Comics from 1973. As I'm going through some of this stuff, I'm going to talk a little bit about printings when it comes up. It's something that I get asked here as well, too, when I talk to people about undergrounds. They're asking me, how do you know which printing is which? Comics Joint is a really great resource that you can access for free. It does a really good job of kind of outlining the issues and outlining the different printings. If you so happen to see the Fogel Underground Price Guide, I would say grabbing onto that. The latest edition is the 2015 to 2016. That's really good as well because he outlines all of the printings in there as well too. We'll sort of, I have Comics Joint open on a few of these just so I can refer to some of that info there. This one, I believe, only had 2 printings is what they're saying. This is the first with the 50-cent. The next one, the second printing had a 75-cent cover. And this is a lot of Ran Holmes in this one. This is one of my favorites, not because it's Canadian, but that's definitely part of it. So Ran Holmes created this Herald Head character. The Georgia Straight was the newspaper that he worked at, and they wanted, Freak Brothers were really popular, and they wanted a, oh, by the way, gather the children around the screen. We're going to be getting into some naughty bits in here. They wanted their answer to the Freak Brothers. They wanted a character that was going to bring people to their paper. So they had him. He created this Herald Head. And this also has 3 other artists, Falcione, Brenta Boats, and Tapani Newt, doing a couple of extra bits in here too. The story that caught my attention, oh, is he really gearing up for a new edition? Well, that's good news. Because I remember when I talked to him when that book came out, I believe his intention was that he wanted to do a new, like he really wanted to keep on top of it, but obviously that fell by the wayside. So that's good to know. The one that I like in this one, I was thinking at some point it would be great to do a movie where you kind of do shorts of some classic underground comics. This would definitely be one. Fatal Orgasm, a good channel name. This would definitely be one. I love this one a lot. It just treats, again, some of the things with the Undergrounds, as far as, yes, there was absolutely speaking from the id and being offensive and things, but then you get stuff like this that's just a genuinely good little story into Harold's relationship with his partner, whose name I don't remember here. And kind of, you know, I assume at the time it would have shocked as well as it probably, maybe it does now. I don't know. I doubt it these days, but there's some really forward thinking individuals in the underground comics movement presenting some really great stories. And I would say that this is one to pick up. If you see this All Canadian Beaver, I wouldn't hesitate on it for a second. It's really, really good stuff. We'll put those there. All new Underground Comics. This is issue number 1, Armageddon. Future issues were kind of flip books. I think there was 5 of these. And no, sorry, there were 6 of them. And the 6th one has the two-fisted zombies, which is Rick Veitch and his brother. Let me just make sure. Was it that issue? Yeah, it's Rick Veitch, and it is issue number 6. Yes. Sorry, no, issue number 5. Apologies, issue number 5. Two-fisted zombies. So this one continued in its own series as well too, called Armageddon, that lasted a few issues. It's been forever since I've read this one, but I loved this book when I first kind of discovered it and dug into it. 1972, I think, is when this one comes out. Creator Barney Steele. Yeah, Barney Steele and The Last Gasp. Really, really top-notch art here. You know, shades of kind of classic Underground, but also doing his own thing, like this kind of foreshortening there. You know, really, really great. And of course, you know, lots of traveling into space. I think in later issues they kind of transcend the Earth and become one with the universe, you know. So you're getting a lot of great hippie shit in this stuff, and you're getting some shocking images here too, I guess. Someone getting their face ripped apart there, so that's fantastic. That back cover is really great too. American Flyer Funnies. I think this is, I know I have an issue of this. I think I only have issue 2. I don't think I have this one. So this is a nice score here. 1972 print mint. Is it Larry? Yeah, Larry Wells, Larry Sutherland, and Larry Todd. Lots of Larrys in this one. So a kind of a 3-man anthology. This is fantastic. All of that tech in the back there. Some of these, this is going to be the first time I'm also actually flipping through the book too, so forgive me as I go silent here. Yeah, beautiful looking stuff. This is really great. Some of these I'll have more to say about, and some like this I don't know that much about even myself. So what do we have here for issue number 1? What does Comics Joint tell us? Looks like just the one printing. Comics Joint says that there was 30,000 copies of this printed. And the other thing I'll say about these books, they're in beautiful shape. Like, this is a guy who bought some quality and then packed it away really nicely. Another Corbin that I'm very excited about. I've got this one already as well, but it's always good to have another copy. This is Anomaly. Anomaly started magazine size and then continued on to this size. How many issues did this one run? Let's have a look here. This one ran 4 issues. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is the only comic-sized one. Comics Joint, yeah. So Anomaly began as a magazine-sized science fiction fantasy fanzine founded by Jan Sternad and Bain in the late 60s. So 1969 is the year that they have listed for the very first issue. So this was the only one. I've never seen any of the magazine-sized ones. I don't even think I've seen them online when I've searched, back in the day, classics of searching eBay for undergrounds. Never come across one. So here's some great Corbin stuff here, black and white. But this is another fantastic book, and that back cover is so great. Armadillo Comics. I know I have an issue of this. I don't know if this is the one that I have. There was 3 issues of this one. 1969 was the first issue. This one is 1971. Jim Franklin, and is published by the Texas Transplants at the Ripoff Press. Drawn mostly in Austin, Texas, at the Armadillo World Headquarters. And Gore, you and I have talked about that before. You had turned me on to a documentary that was on YouTube that I watched, and it was amazing. It was really, really good. That was quite a few years ago at this point, but this stuff is fun. Part of the joy of the underground stuff is that, especially in its heyday, like at its height, there was a lot of people. I mean, it's good and bad, like with any sort of movement or whatever. There was so many creators doing this stuff. It's kind of like exploring the 80s, because there's always going to be names that you just don't hear about that often. So you can find some real gems. This one is beautiful looking stuff here. I haven't flipped through this in a dog's age. So there you go. That stuff looks good. Of course, there would be an automatic weapon with the Mona Lisa. That's how we roll in the Lone Star State. Forget the Alamo. There you go. So, man, you don't know. Like, so this is one that I'm very excited about. So, man. So Barbarian Comics, I've had the first 3 issues forever. I have never, ever, ever seen the 4th issue. They had a copy, I think, on Lone Star, on my comic shop. But I think it's one of those things that when it pops up, it sells right away. So I'm so goddamn excited that this one is here. We get a Jack Jackson cover. And not only do we get a Jack Jackson cover, this one has the poster still intact of that front cover. Jackson, one of my favorites, 1975. This is such a fun book. Again, an anthology, kind of the underground's answer to Red Sonja and Conan and all the Barbarian books, but done obviously in their own kind of raunchy style. This one, I did flip through this one, and it looks amazing. I cannot wait to sit. This is one of the ones that's near the top. We even get some Trina Robbins in here as well too. This is one that's near the top of my reading list for sure. Beautiful, beautiful. These are a lot of fun. We'll flip through this other one as well too. Yeah, there was ads. There was distribution lists. Look at this, man. There was distribution lists as well. Let's get credits on this one. I think I did open this page. No, Comics Joint doesn't have that one. Actually, this one actually listed on their site. Oh, hello, DaCosta. How are you, man? Yeah, Jackson stuff is so good. Anybody who there's a few names that I would suggest beyond Crumb to check out when you're checking out underground comics, and Jack Jackson is one of those guys for me. I don't think you can go wrong picking up anything by him. His style is incredible. Look at this shit too, man. This is beautiful as well. Wham is the artist on this one. Yeah, geez. No credits. So anyway, I'm so happy to have that. And then this is issue number 2 here. Issue number 1 had a silver cover, and I think issue number 1 might have been the one that had the distribution and buying list in it. Oh, sorry, knocking you around there. Yeah, it must have been issue number 1 because I'm not seeing anything in this one. But either way, this one also looks like an upgrade from the one that I have. The other one is the one that I have, I think, is pretty rough. This is looking pretty sharp. Amazing covers, really, really great stuff. So excited to have that final issue finally. One that I've had in the collection before. 2 copies of the Collected Cheech Wizard. So this is the Collected Cheech Wizard. There was only the 1 issue. There's a little bit of printing difference here. Let's see what it says here for printings. It says there was 3 printings of this one. The first and second printings were published by Company and Sons, and the third printing was published by the Print Mint. So this is Company and Sons. The first printing had a 50-cent cover, and the second had a 75-cent cover. So, well, there you go. So first printings of both of these. Thank you, Comics Joint, for helping us out here. Yeah, we've talked about Von Baudet before. Collection of Cheech Wizard here in these 2 issues. So beautiful stuff. Really, really nice. And then one that I talked about just recently that I picked up. There's also 2 copies of this Von Baudet Schizophrenia. Both 75-cent covers. I don't think I pulled this one up on the... Oh, no, I did. Here it is. 2 printings of this one. So this is first printing as well. The second printing had a $1 cover price on it. So we've spoken about this on the channel already. I love this one. I'm glad to have some more to pass on to somebody. I think are now unconstitutional, but then constitutional sodomy laws caused an exodus of Texas-based underground comics to Canada or Terrence's neighborhood. Absolutely, everything came here. All the dirty shit came here. Corporate Crime Comics. Was there 2 issues of this one? I think. Yeah, there was 2 issues. The other one kind of has a Dick Tracy knockoff for a cover. This is True Stories of Corporate Crime. Here's some Greg Irons, another guy who I think is top-notch as far as underground artists go. Kitchen Sink. This is 1977, and it says first printing. So like a lot of the undergrounds that you end up seeing, there's a ton of anthology books out there. Guys working together to create an issue, adding their short stories to everything. So nice looking one too. Beautiful, in beautiful shape. The Dirty Duck book, which is kind of sort of a takeoff on Crazy Cat. Well, maybe not sort of. I mean, there's so many similarities. Winnipeg loves sodomy. Could be. 1971, Bobby London, one of the air pirates, if I'm not mistaken, right? Where's Colin? That's one thing that actually wasn't in this box. As I was flipping through the box, seeing these amazing books, I'm like, man, if there's an Air Pirates comic in here, I'm gonna shit. Because I've another book that I've never managed to find, and when I have seen a copy, it was unbelievably expensive, but I did get to hold it in my hands. So there you go, Dirty Duck, beautiful, looks great. This is a fun one, Doping Dan by Ted Richards. Ted Richards was kind of like, I don't know, I consider him more of like a gag cartoonist. He would have kind of been right at home in kind of the I don't know, like the newspaper strips of the time, you know, that get collected in the little digest size. Cthulhu Hand Luke, how are you? They're fun. These are really fun. Not much more to say about them. A raw Air Pirates go for 75. Really? Hey, that's actually not a bad price. A friend of mine, fucking guy, great guy, awesome guy. He found a copy of Air Pirates in a charity shop for 50 cents. It got dumped in there. I guess when it came through, it just looked like a Disney comic, so they threw it in there, and he found it. Son of a bitch. Yeah, no, 75 has gone down for sure. I think the one that I saw was like 300 at the time, I think, and this was quite a few years ago. Drool, a humor mag. I think I opened a page for this one too. Let's have a look. Only one printing of this one. A whole bunch of artists involved in this, including a Larry Hama doing a few pages. Larry Todd, Joey Epstein, Chris Rush, Stephen Barnett, Ralph Reese. Oh, Ralph Reese, Gail Berwin, Tom Hatchman, Bill Sersky, etc., etc. 1972. Some good stuff here, including Nixon's trip to Harlem and Jay Kinney's rock and roll forecast 1984. So here we go. A jam-packed anthology in this one. I do have a copy of this sitting in the shelves beside me, and I've never read it. One of those rare books that I just have never read. I haven't really ever even flipped through it, so that'll have to change as well too. Beautiful stuff there. Another classic, another one that I've got the issues of, but again, it's always nice to have some doubles. Fanta Gore, Fanta Gore issue number 1. The first printing of it was oversized, and it didn't. I think it had a $1 price tag on it. So I think this is the second print here of issue number 1, and then a couple of copies of issue number 3. Both 75-cent covers on those. But this is chock filled with Corbin. Yeah. I don't think they'd play at all. I'd probably get some puzzled looks, or it might spark some conversations that we just don't want to hear. Fanagore color. Look at this. Just jumps off the screen there like, dude, unbelievable. Look at these colors. Just ridiculous, man. Yeah, I've never seen one, DaCosta. I've never seen an oversized one. I don't even think I've seen any online. So I don't know. Let's have a look. I might have opened this page too. I wonder how many printings they did of that first one. They say Comics Joint says the first printing there was only 1,500 copies printed. So that explains a lot. It was priced at $1.50, not a dollar, and I think the first printing doesn't have a cover price on it at all. But I'd love to see this at a bigger size someday. Some Shelton goodness with Feds and Heads. There was only the one issue. Yeah, yikes indeed. 1,500. So I imagine that if you ever do see that, it's going to cost you $1 or $2. The 5 of us that would actually want the book. Well, actually, filled with Corbin, I'm sure there would be maybe 10 or 12 of us. So this has got Wonder Warthog. I think it might have some. I don't know if it has some Freak Brothers in this one, but yeah, there we go. Some Freak Brothers as well. Another one that I've got a copy of already. I'm a big fan of Gilbert Shelton. I'm a big fan of the Freak Brothers. They are my gateway into the drug and underground comic scene. Supposedly Dark Horse and Fantagore will be reprinting this stuff in deluxe editions. Yeah, I've heard that they're doing some reprints. I've heard that they're doing Bloodstar. One of the first ones is supposed to be Bloodstar, which would be beautiful. I've got copies now, so I'm kind of torn of if I should start selling off this Corbin stuff to make the money while the money's still there to be made, and then save up and buy these new editions. But I probably won't. I'll probably end up keeping everything and buying duplicates. So Feds and Heads, there you go. Fulbert Sturgeon, Feel Good Funnies. This is another classic. I've got a copy of this as well too. It's just great stuff. I mean, again, when you talk about like the staples of underground comics, Fulbert Sturgeon and his Jesus stuff is just classic. Frank Stack, was that his name? Really, really good, a neat style. Again, I've said it before. He appeared a lot in some anthologies in the 90s that I was reading, Ripoff Press and those kinds of things. And I never got into him as much, but I think now that I keep he keeps showing up on the screen here lately. I feel like he's shown up quite a bit in videos. It's time to really give him a good look. This is one in beautiful shape as well, too, 50 cents. Some of the undergrounds, it was also interesting looking at all these together and kind of having them piled up together. Just the different size. Every book seems to be a different size. Some are taller, some are shorter, some are wider. It's you know, another beautiful thing about them. Colin, for when you watch this in the future, here's your fever dreams. Colin sent me a message. They did, Jan Sternad did a, oh, what the fuck, man? Double cover? What the shit? Okay, well, that's pretty fucking cool. They did an animated version of this just recently. So this is a short story, Jan Sternad and Corbin, and it kind of centers around this robot character, and they expanded it. I think it's like a 90-minute I think it's like a 90-minute flick. And what's his name? That comedian, the comedian who does the Crow in does the voice of the Crow, Patton Oswalt. He does the voice of the robot in this as well too. There is a trailer out there. There was a Kickstarter where you could back it and get a whole bunch of extras, but I never ended up backing it. Here it is here. So, To Meet the Faces You Meet by Sternad and Corbin. Yes, 2 covers for the price of 1 indeed. That just made this issue go up even more. Now it's $6 instead of $5. So here we go. Yeah, it's not of all the errors. I think I got a Freak Brothers. There's a Freak Brothers issue that I have that has a double cover as well too. But it's something I don't find too often. So here's that. Anyway, there's that short story that got turned into the movie. There you go. It's beautiful, man. This is in nice condition as well too. Look at that. Oh, look at that. It transferred on there too. That's interesting. So they must have been stacked together wet, and we get an imprint. But that's a beautiful, that almost reminds me of what's his name? You know, Flamed Out Funnies. Another one I never thought I'd get. I have the first issue of this one, and I never see that around. So this is great. Willie Murphy, Flamed Out Funnies, issue number 2. Not much to say about this one. 1976. Ripoff Press. Again, more kind of gag kind of strips as opposed to trudging through the depths of your id. Hippie stoner. I feel like there was a ton of pseudo Freak Brothers stuff out there, and I feel like this is just another one of those. This is an exciting one. There's a couple of issues of this. Robert Williams, I think, put this anthology together. Forbidden Knowledge Comics. Let me see. I think I opened a page for this one as well too. No, I didn't. So anyway, Forbidden Knowledge must be the other issue that has, I think it's a flip book for the other one. Some early Robert Williams, who appeared in Zap Comics and then went on to found the Juxtapose magazine, which I was a huge fan of, 1975. That's right. That's what this one had. There's a couple here. This is one of them. They have Mr. George DiCaprio, Leonardo DiCaprio's dad, doing some writing because he was big into the undergrounds as well too. So I believe he was just a writer. So maybe this was a George DiCaprio anthology, because here's a letter from the editor type of thing on the inside front page. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was DiCaprio and Robert Williams doing this one. Maybe I should have opened the page so we could get that shit correct. My double covers are all Detective Comics. Well, that's if you're ever going to get some double covers, that's got to be it, right? Like, do kind of the slabbing crowd, do they go nuts for double covers? Is that a thing for them? This one's for Mighty Leonardo. So there you go. Forbidden Knowledge Comics. Here we go with the Freak Brothers. These are the ones that he'd kind of set aside outside of the box. And when I had a look at them through the bags, there's a quality to this that I'm like, this can't be real. This has got to be something. I think so. When it comes to these first early printings of Freak Brothers stuff, so this is issue number 1. The 50 cents here being in blue with the yellow staircase and the white tire. I think that this is the 4th printing of this first issue. I think the early printings, that 50 cents was in purple. I think there was some other different colors. Like they changed some of these things from printing to printing, especially with the Freak Brothers. There was what, like, I don't know, 20 printings of this shit. Let's have a look here. Comics Joint has 21 printings of this listed on their website. So 4th printing, 50 cent cover, blue price, cross hatching added to many areas. I think this is a 4th. Green fence? No, we don't see a green fence. So yeah, who the hell knows? But anyway, it's beautiful. It is in fucking gorgeous condition. So this is, but it has a quality to the printing that's quite a bit different. But yeah, I mean, what can I say about Freak Brothers? Again, this is my shit. This is the stuff. This is the stuff here. Yeah, that's right. I should get that Fever Dream slabbed. So that one, we got issue number 2, an early printing, a 50 cent cover as well too. This one I've never seen. I've got a few. Oh, it's chipped away there at the bottom there. I've got a few printings of this one. I've never seen one that has this blue. Oh, it's ripped there too, but still. So these ones will be staying with me in the collection. I love, if I'm going to collect printings of underground comics, it's going to be Freak Brothers. 50 center on this one, issue number 3. 75 cents on this issue number 4. And then this has got to be a 2nd or 3rd printing, because I think I have a 1st printing of issue number 5 here. So really, really great stuff to have all of those early Freak Brothers. So when it comes to the age-old argument of who created the first underground comic, Frank Stack or Fulbert Sturgeon and Jackson. Jackson is thought of to be the first person to have created kind of underground comics or done underground comics. And it was with this character, God Knows. Now, this book here collects all of the early stuff from, I think, what did it say there? Was it all 1969? Getting it on since 1969. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And again, it's like who created the first graphic novel. I mean, who knows? Partially, I guess, who gives a shit, but I understand why some of these guys would want that credit. That's a pretty big credit to have, being a creator of a movement. But either way, this collects some of his early work that would have appeared in some university newspapers and things like that, some alternative newspapers. I've got a copy of this already, but this one looks in much better shape than the one that I have. So I'll have to do a little bit of side by side and keep the one that looks nicer. So that's really exciting. And it's also interesting to see his style at this time, because it's quite a bit different, as you saw for yourself. There's shades of Jackson in here for sure, but this does feel like stuff like this, that to me reads like Jackson. But some of this other stuff is very kind of different from what he would become. Yeah, Joel Beck would be in the mix 100%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is another DiCaprio book. There's 2 issues of this, Greaser Comics. This is issue number 2, another pristine fucking copy. Part of me wonders who this guy was and if he was buying this shit when it was coming out. I don't have, this is the first one that I have from this 2-issue series. 1972 is when this comes out. Don't know much else than that other than the DiCaprio affiliation. And again, I think he wrote a bunch of stuff in this issue as well as the first one. So there we go, Greaser. Some more Corbin. This is Grimwit. Love this cover. This, I believe this Grimwit is the first appearance of Dan. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure I opened the page. Yeah, here's Dan here. Now, let's double check here. Greaser, Grimwit. Grimwit number 2 is best known for the first appearance of Corbin's most famous character, Den, which he created in 1968 for his award-winning self-produced animated short called Neverwhere, which you can find on YouTube. Jack Jackson also contributes a gruesome tale with Death Rattle, and that's this first story here. And again, like seeing Jackson Comics with Smurf, hello. But yeah, here you go. So first appearance of Dan, which then later appeared in Heavy Metal magazine, and of course had its own copies and appeared all over the goddamn place and got released in a whole bunch of different formats. So this is a really nice copy as well too. Another one I've got already, but I'll have to have a look to see which one looks sharper. Dollar price tag. 10,000 copies of this printed. Only one printing for this one, so they're all going to look the same. More Ran Holmes. This is an issue of Herald Head. There was a few issues of this, and then there was a 2-issue series of Herald Head. Cocaine something or other. Was it Cocaine Cowboys or something like that? I don't remember what the heck it was called. So, but this is stuff that would have appeared in that Georgia Strait. There was also that's great stuff, man. There you go. Where's Ragamuffin? There's your boner there, Ragamuffin. There was an oversized collection as well too, so I can't remember. The collection for sure had some reprints from the newspaper. I don't remember if this one had some originals done for the comic or if it was a kind of mix of both. But there you go. So Ran Holmes was a hell of an artist. Beautiful stuff. Oh, White Lunch number 2. I don't know if that ever actually came out. There was the 1, but I don't think number 2 ever came out. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, Herald Head number 2. Heavy Tragedy Comics. So on Comics Joint, he rates the Undergrounds as well too. This is one of them that he gave a 9. This is filled with Greg Irons. Again, another absolute classic. This is saying, yeah, 1969 here as well too. So there you go, another competitor. I have a copy of this as well. It needs a revisit for sure. I need to read this sucker again. Really great. Yeah, I've got, yeah, well, we'll see it when we get to it. But this reminds me of another book of his as well. Yeah, look at that stuff. This is great. Herald Head, Hitler's Cocaine. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. That's the one. Shedding tears seeing some of these titles I used to own. Oh man, I'm sorry you had to part with them. The Undergrounds for me are the ones that are going to stay with me forever as I kind of keep selling other comics. I don't see myself ever selling, you know, besides like if I have doubles and things. I don't see myself getting rid of these. These are way too important to my upbringing and my perspective on the world even. Hit the Road, one of those odd ones in the Undergrounds where you get some edu comics and you get a series of a couple of books that were truckers and kind of Hey, look at that. Greg Iron's Light was the first video I saw on your channel. Well, there you go. That is a great book, and that's the one I was talking about, because there's another copy of that here as well too, which I'm excited about, because Light is probably one of my all-time favorite just comics, never mind underground comics. Line for shirt sleeves should connect here. Cut out a long dotted line. There's your big thumb for hitchhiking when you hit the road. This one, they do not have a review of it on the Comics Joint site, but they give this one a 10. This is Robert Crumb, Your High Tone Comics, 50 cents. I believe this is one I do not own. Very excited about this one. Look at this fucking ad for Apex Novelties. This is 1971. Ad for some Young Lust, which is also in this box as well too, some of those early issues. But I'm pretty sure this whole thing is Crumb. Yeah, it sure is. Oh, look at this. Stoned again. The classic. Another one that first time I saw this was in that Comic Book Confidential as well too, because they kind of show this one when they talk about Undergrounds briefly. This actually made an appearance. So I wrote a course for the union on our collective agreement, a mandatory course for new members and people looking to upgrade into like supervisor positions. I used a bunch of images from Underground Comics throughout that entire presentation, and this is one that I used and kind of changed the lettering on here and did some magic to it to kind of illustrate. There's a section in our collective that talks about lunch cover and washroom facilities, so I used this image on that. It's great, actually. That presentation gives me joy every single time. There's some slides that I added in there that I always get a kick out of seeing again. Helps me instruct that course. My all-time favorite series, my all-time favorite single issue, Inner City Romance #3. This is now the third copy of this that I have. This is going to be one that I'm going to be hard-pressed to sell. This is a fucking phenomenal book. I don't know how many times I have to tell you people the same thing, but I love Guy Caldwell, and this was my very first Guy Caldwell book, and it is just a stunner. 1977, Last Gasp. I mean, what can I say? Like, just look at these pages, man. It's just incredible work. Even in the Inner City Romance, I would say that this is the strongest art wise. His art is great throughout all of them, but this is probably right up there as kind of some of the most detailed and intense storytelling, with a lot of like silent passages, and a lot of this stuff, like these pages are beautiful. So again, as much as I already have a couple of issues of this, or copies of this one rather, I don't see this one leaving anytime soon. This will probably just slide in there. I think we all have talked about it at some point when you go to cheap bins, and there's always a couple of comics for everybody that you see them and you want to buy them just to rescue them from these cheap bins. This is one of them. And then that contrast. So we move from all of that to our final story here, and everything completely changes. The whiteness of the page and the whiteness of the backgrounds and these tiles, like fucking hell, man. This is a beautiful book. Really gorgeous. I've got the collection of the Inner City Romance as well. I was hoping that there would be a copy of issue #4 in here, because I'd love to find another copy of that, because that's the book that I bought the page from, and I would love to do a nice presentation, get it framed where I can have the piece of art, the cover, and then actually the page from the actual book. So I'd love to get a couple of more copies of issue #4 of this one. But this is a stellar, and if you only read one of them, this is the one to buy. This is the one to get. How's everybody doing? How long have we going? 54 minutes. We're kind of just past the halfway mark. Some of these I'll fly through a little faster here, because there's still a bit of a stack. Let's do this. And this. And this. It's only Rock and Roll Comics, but we like it. Nothing really to say about this one too much. Some Alice Cooper, Elton John, David Bowie, Mick Jagger. 74. I thought this was a British one. JJ Petagno. Maybe not. There's no, do we have any credit? No, we don't. What the heck was that English company? Knockabout. I thought this was a Knockabout published book, but I'm not seeing that written anywhere. So anyway, not much to say about this one. Doesn't interest me as much. One that does interest me is Junk Waffle. 3 issues of this. I believe there was 5 issues of this, and from what I understand, this Junk Waffle is a collection of Von Bode's early work, early shorts. So this is, it is British, yeah. This is one that I'm very curious about, especially because I enjoyed Schizophrenia so much. I will be giving these ones a chance. All 50-cent. Yeah, all of them are 50-cent covers. I don't know how many printings there were of this one, but that's pretty great. I'll absolutely be holding on to these suckers and giving them a fair shake and reading those. The lean years, when it comes to books that Comics Joint has kind of given grades to, this one has a pretty low grade from what I remember, a 3 or a 4 or something. Is this all Deitch? Is this entire book Kim Deitch? No, it doesn't look like it. Published by the Cartoonist Co-op Press, 1974. John Pound is in here. Barry Siegel, Bruce Simon, Trina Robbins. Members, United Cartoon Workers of America. I'd like to know more of that story, putting that together, the United Cartoon Workers, because I think that appears on a couple of covers. There you go. There's some Trina Robbins there. A bit different looking Trina Robbins there. Those faces don't look too much like Trina. Yeah, one that I don't have, so that's great. The other one that I raved about in the Schizophrenia, I've got another copy of this now. The Man, Scott Connor, has raved about this one too. This is a really, really strong single issue. So this is copyright 1966/1972. So again, who's doing what, when, and where was it published? Or was this something that he just kind of had? But I love this book. This is a really, really great book. Well worth your time. If you hunt down any Von Bode, I would say Schizophrenia and this issue, The Man. Another book that I had early on in my underground collecting was this one, Meef Comics. Amazing covers on these, really busy, really unusual looking stuff. Who else do we have in here? Dave Sheridan, F. Schreier. They also did, I think, did they both appear in this as well too? The very next book here, this Mother's Oats comics. I think it was Schreier and Sheridan in here. Yeah, it is. Yeah, so it's both of them doing this. But I mean, this kind of detailed stuff, this pointillist type of texturing to the art there is beautiful. Amazing looking stuff, these books. And again, another one that I haven't paid enough attention to this series. I think I'm still missing an issue from this little run. Maybe there was 4. Yeah. And I'm not sure if I have, this might be the one that I was missing, but it's been forever since I looked through that. And speaking of different size comics, there's a good illustration of it there. A little bit thinner and a little bit shorter than the first issue, but those are great. And then, like I showed, I know that this is an upgrade because the one that I have of this is pretty trashed, so I'm pretty excited to have this. Again, that same creative team, just doing another 2-man anthology of a bunch of short stories. There's some, oh, look at that, Veitch and Irons. There we go. Mother's Oats #2. Another one that I have, Mr. Natural, 75 center on the front there. So I don't know what printing that would be, but this is 1970. And as it says, a collection of Mr. Natural stories. Look at this, the Mr. Natural drawing contest. Yeah, that's great, man. R.H. Morgan, 48. Mike Britt, 26. This is great stuff. Look at that. Amazing. There you go. Mr. Natural. The Adventures of Jesus. I think this is the second printing of this one. The first printing, I think, had a blue background instead of this red. But the second printing, I guess the third printing has the 50 cents outlined in black. This isn't in black and white, and the text here is in a different color too. So, but we're back to Fulbert Sturgeon with his character Jesus, and some strips. Again, I'm not sure the backstory on this one, where these originally appeared. I imagine these are collected works of this Jesus character. Compiled into a book here. Pandora's Box, that I think used to be Tits and Clits, a female-led anthology. 2 women at the helm of this one. Let's open the page for this one so I get the credits proper, like Pandora's Box over here. Joyce Farmer, then known as Joyce Sutton, and Lynn Chevely formed Nanny Goat Productions and launched Tits and Clits, the first all-women underground comic anthology. It predated women's comics by a few months. The following year, Farmer and Chevry produced another book that they intended to be the second issue of Tits and Clits. But after the June 1973 Supreme Court ruling about obscenity, the duo decided to avoid a potential bust and changed the title to Pandora's Box Comics, which was published in November and bitterly dedicated to the U.S. Supreme Court, which I believe they have in the back cover here. This issue is dedicated to the U.S. Supreme Court right down here. So there you go. So that's going to be fantastic to read. I love the look of this stuff. That real raw energy of what the Undergrounds just did so well, and the same thing that appeals to me from the 80s books. So there's Pandora's Comics. I think I have about 4 different printings. Hello, Sean. I think I have about 4 different printings of People's Comics. I don't think I have a 75 center, so another one that might be staying with me. This again is another early underground comic for me. This is all Crumb again. Confessions of R. Crumb. This one I've read a million times because it was one of those early books, along with Freak Brothers. Fritz the Cat is in here as well too. So yeah, this is great. Is this the one where he kills Fritz? Possibly. Yes, of course it is. Yeah. This is the ice pick to the back of the head. So this is after the Fritz the Cat movie came out. Crumb hated the fucking movie. He absolutely hated it. So he decided to kill off Fritz in the comics. And that is the last Fritz story, I believe, as his ostrich girlfriend takes an ice pick to the back of his head. Another one I'm very excited about. I never see these. I think I'm missing a couple of these issues. And these are all very early printings as well, too, with 75-cent price tags on them. The Ripoff Comics anthology, again, in the early days of collecting Undergrounds, this was one. It eventually transitioned to magazine-sized anthology. And that one was a huge influence for me. And that was a huge book in my life when it came to reading comics. These comic sized issues aren't the easiest to come across. I think I might have a couple that I bought in the UK. Maybe they have like pence. Do I have pence copies of these ones? I know I have some pence copies of some Freak Brothers stuff. Might be the same with this. I'm pretty sure this is the one that I'm missing here. So I'm very excited to have these. I'll be having a look through this. And you get Dealer McDope. You get some Bill Griffith. You get some Fubert Sturgeon. You get Freak Brothers. You get Wonder Warthog. And it was kind of just a collection of all of the above. I don't believe there was any continuing stories through here. They were all kind of one-offs. This Griffith Observatory was always pretty fun, I remember. And you get these nice back covers. Welcome to Rip-Off Land. So very, very cool shit here. Relive my teen years reading this stuff. Fritz has too many antics. I have a copy of the Tits and Clits. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't think I have a copy of that. So, yeah, anyway, that's Rip-Off Comics. We're coming to the end here, people. Thank you for sticking around for so long. San Francisco comic book. I've got a few of these. Another anthology. This is Willie Murphy, who we saw earlier on as well, too, on the front cover there. Jim Osborne, the amazing Jim Osborne. Here's our what the heck was it called? Freak Out Funnies or whatever it is. Here's this. Yes. Okay. This, I remember this one from, this is a Spain Rodriguez, an absolutely earth-shattering image here. You can check out the trees and the branches intertwining with each other, and kind of just a beautiful, beautiful, messy, intense page as this woman is getting chased by these wolves that are all barking and growling at her. Really great shit there. Amazing. Yeah, no doubt, gore. Skull Comics. Did this one have... Yes, this one had a guy that I've talked about before, Charles Dallas. He had a comic called Psychotic. Was it called Psychotic Adventures? Let's have a look here. Yes, Psychotic Adventures by Charles Dallas. It was a 3-issue miniseries. I think Charles Dallas is one of the unsung stars of the underground. This isn't quite there, but there's still a really nice quality. But if you see some Psychotic Adventures, any of the issues, pick any of them up. You can't mistake the covers. They really just stand out. If you had a line of underground comics, they would jump off the shelves at you. They're really incredible. He's a really good storyteller as well, too. I need to revisit this one again. Like Skull, I have all of these issues already, but seeing this one again, I need to go back and give this one a read. Charles Dallas is unfucking believable. And needs way more attention. Needs a collection. Maybe there's one out there already, but amazing stuff. So that's an issue of Skull. Another series that I have already, but it's always good to get some Slow Death. This is issue number 2 with a crazy, it's got to be Jackson and Sheridan cover here. Some crazy printing, 75-cent stickers. So sometimes that's what would happen with another printing. They would just do a second printing, which was the same at the first, and slap some different price tag stickers over top to you know, change the printing, charge a little bit more money, make a little bit more money with the second printing. I don't know that this is a second one, but there you go. Issue number 8, William Stout cover. And then another Greg Irons on issue number 9, doing kind of the classic EC style with the border here and that. So this is a classic. Slow Death is a fantastic anthology. Some really intense stories in some of these, like genuinely disturbing shit in some of these issues. Another exciting one for me, because I think there's one or two of these that I don't have. Snarf, such a good anthology, such a fun book. I'm pretty damn sure I don't have a copy of number 6. And these other ones are early printings as well, too. So what do we have? Issue number 2, issue number 4, 5, and 6. 50-cent cover on this one. Yeah, Legion of Charlies is a good one, yes. Not much to say about this. Snarf is fun. It's a blast. It's more on kind of the comedy side of things. Yeah, maybe I don't have this one either. This might be the other one that I don't have. But yeah, Harvey Kurtzman cover on this one here for issue number 5. And then, of course, Mr. Crumb for number 6. It's a shame there will be no more comic books as this because Americans are too fearful of sex. Yeah, it really is a shame that this, I mean, I understand why it kind of went by the wayside, but I mean, man, I hope it's looked at. I hope history looks back on this time as I feel they should. This stuff is so goddamn important. Jeffrey Jones, 1973, Spasm number 1. Another one that I have already, but Jeffrey Jones, Jeffrey Catherine Jones, some beautiful, beautiful work. Another artist that I really grew to appreciate the older I got. Beautiful stuff there from Last Gasp. Another one that I don't actually have, Tales from the Ozone. Yeah, not much to say. Again, anthology art. Another in the Richard Corbin vein. This is Tales from the Plague, and this one is a really odd size. It's much taller and thinner than even standard books. 50-cent cover on this as well. Some still classic looking stuff. I think my wife is home from work. 1969, look at this. By your friendly publisher and editor, Dennis A. Cunningham. Sergio Aragonés was living in Paris, spending time with Mobius and Drie when they discovered Zap Comics, inspired them to go their own way. That's amazing. That's really, really great. Tales of the Armerkins, Company and Sons there again. For some reason, I thought this was another knockabout one as well, too. We saw that recently in a video. This we saw recently. What was this? The second appearance of Zippy the Pinhead, I think is what it was, with his Tales of Toad. One that I have no idea. I do know Big Muddy Comics because I've got another underground from Big Muddy Comics. Trivial Annoyances. I believe they were from, where the hell were they from? New Orleans. So this is 1972 by Danny Froelich. The name does not ring a bell to me at all. It looks great. It looks pretty fun. A bit of a bigger format as well too, but not one that I'm familiar with at all. Here's that Truckin' magazine we were talking about. We've seen this before. I'm going to kind of pick up the pace here for the last few. Tough Shit Comics, Robert Williams. I believe this is issue number 1. And it says the proceeds for this one go to the Heroin Emergency Life Project, a methadone and help program for street addicts. And it gives you an address that you can make donations to as well. So this is very intriguing here. Another one I don't know very much about at all. So looking forward to digging into this. Oh, is that Roger Brand? That's got to be Roger Brand, hey? Was there a signature there? No, there's not. But there you go. Amazing Robert Williams work there. Really showing his style, you know, what he's known for. Like, I feel like that type of metallic kind of look to things is a very Robert Williams. Women's Comics #2, the anthology we talked about earlier. A few Wonder Warthog. This is the best of Wonder Warthog. There was only these 3 volumes, I believe, and this is another one where every single one was a different size from each other. Yeah, there you go. And almost finally, a couple of things to look at. Young Lust, a couple of copies of issue #1. This one is beat to all hell, so that'll be the reader. Issue #1 there, 50 center. I think it's issue 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes, it is. This one went for a while. I think this one went magazine size as well too. Is that more Roger Brand? Why we're just seeing, yeah, Roger Brand all over the place all of a sudden. Kind of the romance comics underground anthology. So lots of dirty shit going on in there. And the last few books that we'll look at, some smaller ones. I never thought I'd see a copy of this color. This is Victor Moscoso, is that right? I never thought I'd come across a copy of this. It's another one that seems to go for a lot of money when I do see it out there. So this is in really beautiful shape as well too. I think the Kayfabe guys looked at this recently, or maybe not recently, maybe it was a while ago now. Our Crumb's Comics and Stories did a version of this appear in something else. Did they include this with a Crumb collection? I think maybe a reprint of this one. So this is 1969. There you go, 1969 once again. Fritz the Cat story in here. Was this the one that he made for, no, that was, can't remember if this is the one that he made for his first wife, a story that he wrote for his first wife. Anyway, some Fat Freddy's cat in these digest kind of size, which is beautiful to see. I've got a couple of these, but I don't think I have all of these ones. I don't think I have #2. And then something I've never seen before, I didn't even know this existed, a thicker kind of digest collection of some Fat Freddy's cat. I'm guessing from those same things there. So that's amazing to have that. I didn't even know this existed. What's the year on this sucker? 1977 on this one. Wow. Wilhelm Reich. This is from Sparkplug Books, and it says it's credited to Elijah J. Brubaker, 2007. Don't know anything about this. Looks pretty great though. And for the very last couple here, we spoke about it before. Another one of the best undergrounds that I think I've ever seen is this Light. We'll take a quick flip through it because it's always worth looking at. All in cover, all by Greg Irons, except Sheridan helps on page 16, and Tom Veitch is credited with all the words. The few words that are in here are credited to Veitch. But this is a stunner. I've had a few copies of this creep into the collection. One that I kept, I think one I passed on to Johnny Zero back in the day, and now I find myself with another copy. Beautiful stuff. It's a gorgeous book, and another one that I highly recommend if you're going to pick anything up. Hunt for Light. The 50-cent guitar book. Don't know anything about this. It seems like it's kind of, pardon me, comics mixed with instructional text on how to play guitars and chord structures and things like that. So that's an intriguing little one there. The Best of Rip-Off Comics soft cover, volume 1. There's some Armadillo in there as well too. So that'll be great to see what they've included in here. I'm sure a lot of the stuff that we've already seen. Ooh, look at that, Spain Rodriguez. And then finally for tonight, the Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. This is volume 2. an early edition of these rip-off press collections. Let's see what year this one has. This is 1974. So again, I'll have all of these stories, but honestly, I like having these versions as well too, just to kind of flip through instead of flipping through the single issues. Holy smokes, an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm wiped out. Yeah, I think I did as well too. Gary, thanks very much for hanging out with me. I'm really just beat. This has been a blast. I'm gonna have so much fun kind of digging through this and reading some of these books again and reading some of these for the very first time. Very excited by all this. I'm glad this deal worked out. So fantastic collection and higher grade than expected. Yeah, higher grade is exactly right. So, like, I think that's one of the surprises that I had. When I took a first flip through them, they looked pretty decent. But when I sat and had a closer look at them individually, I was amazed at the kind of quality and condition these books were in. So that's a real nice surprise. As you are very well aware, sometimes you see these things and they're just beat to shit, right? So these ones don't smell enough like dope, though. So I'll fix that, and we'll talk to you later.